This week on 3D Printed Soup, Cycloptean architecture. It's weird, it's alien, it's strange, and it's on your tabletop. That's right after this. Hello fellow makers and welcome back to 3D Printed Soup. This week we're having a look at megaliths. Pieces of Cycloptean architecture which are from the dawn of time, where the species that made them has turned to dust, but their ancient technologies and temples are still there on the battlefields, fizzing with arcane power and slowly collapsing back into the dirt because, let's face it, nothing is forever and eventually entropy will get us all. There's a cheery thought for you. But yes, our friends at Digital Taxidermy have made a wonderful new Kickstarter called Megaliths, where you can get pieces of wonderful terrain for your battlefields that you can 3D print and paint and look amazing. These things are temples and altars and ancient pieces of architecture that still hum with power. And yeah, they look absolutely brilliant. I'm looking forward to painting these. If you want to get hold of some yourself, jump to their Megalith Kickstarter campaign. Link in the description below. They're not paying me to do this. They just asked if I'd like to review it. And hey, you know me, I do love reviewing 3D prints. If you've got your own 3D prints you'd like me to review, please get in touch via the email. Let me know and we can talk about me reviewing your stuff. Thanks to everyone who's liked to subscribe this month. Loads more of you. Always warms my heart when you do. So yeah, if you haven't liked to subscribe, now's a great time. Drag your cursor down, click the subscribe button, and there we go. Welcome to the ancient monolith which is 3D Printed Soup. I'm not planning to collapse on myself anytime soon, but let's face it, at some point we're all going to be dust. And with that aside, let's get on and put ourselves some wonderful 3D printed terrain in the form of temples, altars, and megaliths. Let's give this a try.
Perfect.
Okay, that is the obelisk printed. Now I'm going to undercoat it with a sort of a mid-grey, just getting all the cracks to make sure that the paint adheres to this. I've already undercoated it with a quick spray of coat on top to make sure that the paint adheres to the PLA. And yep, just go around here and get it all nice and base coated. With the grey done, I'm going to use some texture paint on the muddy base here. I want it to look like this is sticking up through this the rock and the surface level dirt, and just basically slowly being sucked into the planet. And with that done also, I'm going to paint in the cracks with white so that I can then make some very, very bright green stand out from the base grey. And I'm using a Sistel colour called Warp Lightning, which is a lovely, very, very bright, almost luminous green to do the alien power, which is emanating from this giant piece of obsidian. And finally some null oil shade to make these notches at the bottom stand out and give them a nice shadowy look.
Perfect.
I've done a light grey to base coat the portal stone, And I'm going over that with some contrast paint, which is the black contrast paint, to get in all the little extra areas and make it look like it's got a lot of detail on it, which it does. So it just gets in all the nice little cracks and crannies. And then I'm going to do white on each one of these sections, so I can go over that with a bright blue later on, and it stands out from the grey. And with the white done, I can add the light blue, and I can get that to look a little brighter with the white undercoat. Otherwise, if you painted it straight onto the grey, it wouldn't stand out properly. And with that done, I'll just dry brush around the edges of it to make it look like the light is bleeding out of the blue areas. I have now printed one out on my resin printer as well, because I thought, hey, I know this is designed for FDM, but I want to give this a try on resin. So you just separate this from the print and remove all the struts and support materials. And with that soaked in water, I'm going to give it a quick scrub and get rid of it. This is water-based resin, by the way, so it comes off in water. I don't need to use any IPA on it. I'll give it a quick wipe, and yeah, now it's time to cure it in UV light. And having given it a quick spray with some base coat grey, I'm now going to go over the sandy bits that I want to look like sort of sandstone with a nice light sandy colour. And then over that, I'm going to paint on some contrast paints to darken that down and make it look like a very dark sandstone. For the structure itself, I'm painting a dark grey base coat, and then I'll go over a slightly lighter layer paint, and then I will give it a quick dry brush to bring out the details. Just getting all the nooks and crannies here. Make sure it is covered in full. Right, it's now time to use some contrast paint. I'm using Skeleton Horde here, just to go over the sand itself and getting all the cracks and details, so really bring those out on this model. And then it's time to dry brush. So I'm using a very light grey just to go over here and catch all the edges and bring all the details and cracks out beautifully on this. And oh my, have these things turned out well. I love this. This is a wonderful, wonderful obelisk. It's got some arcane power going through all the cracks, and it's just a big chunk of unknowable ancient time where this thing had some purpose at some point, but it's gone out of anyone's memory, and now it's just a huge lump of obsidian growing out of the mud. And yeah, this thing is absolutely beautiful. I love the way that it's got the hole and the line straight down. It reminds me of stuff from a game called Rime, which is a brilliant, brilliant exploration game on the old Samsung Gear VR. If anyone ever played the Samsung Gear VR, and yeah, you basically got to walk around old stone structures, and this looks like it comes straight out of that, or a waypoint from No Man's Sky. Yeah, very, very happy with that. This was on an FDM printer, printed at 20% infill, and yeah, just standard settings. So yeah, I didn't bother printing this on fine because I wanted it to come out a bit rougher than usual. And yeah, this thing is great. Printed very well out on the FDM. Then I tried this glowing portal. It's yeah, just embedded in rock, and yeah, I used some lovely bright blues on there, and then took the bright blues down to a slightly whiter blue, and then a nice line of pure white to give it that lovely glowing effect. And yeah, this is very, very cool. And I like the way that the stone has turned out so well as well, with a bit of dry brushing and some contrast paints. Yeah, very happy with that. Then I tried this sort of archway, and I've done that in brass because I thought that would look quite cool in sort of a weird metal, just like this lump of some kind of strange alien alloy, which has just survived millions and millions of years, coming straight out of basically rock and mud, and just clawing at the sky with this sort of weird top headpiece to the arch. Yeah, it looks almost like reptilian. Absolutely love that. And then finally, I tried one out on my resin printer. And this is sort of two arches coming out, almost like a backbone or some kind of rib cage of an ancient creature, but it's sort of almost chitinous armour. It's beautiful. And I love the way that one of them is cracked and broken, and one of them is still in the pointed archway. And you can almost use that for sort of lining of sighting down, sort of like firing through it. It's come out very, very nicely, and because it's resin, it's smooth as butter, and yeah, it's a lovely weight to it as well. It's a nice weighty piece. I used some of Elegoo's new water-based resin, so it's actually water washable. I didn't have to use any isopropyl alcohol, so it just washed off with water. And yeah, I'm very impressed with the effects on that. And the mud is a light mud with a brown mud on top, and then some skeleton horde contrast paint painted to the top to bring out the cracked mud. This is a lovely, lovely piece, and I think this is possibly my favourite, just purely because it's just such a nice, weighty, smooth piece of terrain. So yeah, thank you so much, Digital Taxidermy, for providing me with these fine files. There's 2 or 3 really big, chunky ones, but they're going to take about 14 to 15 hours each to print, so I'm going to do those for next week. And yeah, we're going to continue this and have a look at the rest of their Kickstarter in my next video. But for now, thank you very much for them sending it across to me. Links in the description below. If you can support them, do so. They're a great company. They do some really lovely stuff. Have a look for their back catalogue. Also have a look for a few of my videos. I've done lots of reviews of their stuff in the past. And yeah, I'm very appreciative of them sending me the files. Thank you for watching 3D Printed Soup. Don't forget to like and subscribe, because that's really important at the moment as I'm trying to grow the channel. Stay happy, stay safe, keep printing.
Perfect.